Hello there, it's Barb Pask. I'm going to try to paint something that I don't do very often. I am going to try to do a self-portrait. I am not a portrait painter. Have done a few. I typically won't take on a portrait commission. I've done things where, like a few years ago, I did a really cute painting where a little girl was like leaning over her dog and had her thumb in her mouth. So it wasn't, and I did another child and a dog. So I do a few of them, but I wouldn't consider myself a portrait painter. I'm going to spin you around here and show you a couple paintings on the floor there of ballerinas that I've done. So, I do some of it. And show you what I got set up here. Say hi to you here. Hey there. Got a mirror set up and window light in front of me, so the overhead light's off today. Hopefully this is enough light. Got light from two windows, so we'll see how this goes. So spin you around here, work on an 8 by 10. And I'm going to try to be painterly. I do not want a really precise finish painting. That's not my goal. Trying to get you in a good place here, bear with me. And hopefully it's enough light for you. Like I said, I've got the overhead light off because of the window light. So, boy, this is tough, isn't it? All right, we're going to try this. I pre-mixed, and I should have showed you that before I took you back over there, and pre-mixed some skin tones. There's lots of ways to make skin tones. It's a red and a yellow and white and some blue, the primaries. Lots of ways to come to that. Some people like burnt sienna and yellow ochre for their yellow. I played around with some transparent red oxide and some yellow ochre and some white. And there's also, if you're painting full size, another thing to consider, if you put your thumb at the bottom of your chin and stretch your hand out like that, that should hit the top of your hairline, and that's about as large as you want to go. That's pretty much a life-size, full-size face. Obviously, I'm going to be going much smaller than that. Also, I've been told that the top third of the face tends to be more yellow, the center part of the face is warmer, and the bottom part cooler, and obviously much cooler on a man's face. So, I think what I'll do, I don't think I'm going to tone it. I don't have any real plans here. I'm just going to mix some red and blue together, get something dark, and try to sketch me on there. Again, I probably want my face about that big. Maybe here to here. I don't want to go too large. And I've started, I spent a summer one year taking portrait painting from a good artist, and that's all I focused on. And the way he would start, if you had a good reference and one side was in shadow, which is nice, he would just have me mass in that whole dark shape that I see. So that's one way you can start and then develop it from there. So anyway, let's see if we can get kind of a sketch on here. Like I said, I want this to be loose and fun and an impression of me. So at my Christmas party this year, I handed out markers, and we all did self-portraits. That was fun. And then we put them up there to see if people could guess who they were. Pretty funny. We got a good laugh out of it. One lady put a mustache and beard on herself. another good practice, you know, just something else to try. If you like doing figures, I mean, or portraits, you know, you got yourself available. I'm just kind of sketching what I see. And it's hard too because you're moving constantly. Let's go to a little bigger brush and I'm just going to play around and put some of these darks in. I've said it before, but you know, I just think as an artist, you just try everything. Kind of starting to hibernate these days because of the virus. I normally walk at the community center every day, but I may stop doing that too. I live by a park. I can walk in the park here. I like warm weather and it's still a little cool. But that's probably what I'll do today. This afternoon I'll head out and walk in the park. Another thing to remember, nothing on the dark side. See if I say this correct. Everything on the dark side should be darker than anything on the light side. I judged a show the other day, which was fun, and sometimes, you know, you study a painting and you make notes, and because something will catch your eye, and I start writing down what I like about it, and sometimes, you know, one glaring thing, all of a sudden you catch it. It can be a drawing error, or boy, that's an ugly woman, ain't it? Oh. And when you paint yourself, you're not smiling, so you usually end up looking pretty stern. I don't know, we're just doing something to have fun here. And I'm going to try to not overwork it. Try to stay back on my brush. Because again, I want it to be an impression, and I want it to be painterly. That is so thin. All right, I think, again, without getting too much of a sketch in here. Try it sometime if you haven't tried it. Like I said, a nice thing about self-portrait is you've got your subject available to you. Tricky thing is, like I say, every time I go back and forth, I'm moved. Trying to kind of make sure I got the sketch right before I start really laying in any color. I'd rather have a pretty model setting for me. A good challenge is children. I don't know if you've ever painted any children. Tricky thing is to keep them young. It's really easy to make them look older than they are without meaning to. I've got very white hair. It's kind of a cooler, of course, compared to my face. All right, now do I want to go with a really big brush? This isn't too small. Maybe we'll stay with this. This is to give you an idea of the size of it. You know, it's not real little. And we may get out a liner brush and do some of the stuff in the eyes. We'll decide how far we want to take it. All right, let me start looking here. Again, typically the forehead, again, is more yellow, and this area through here is typically warmer, and this is usually a little bit cooler, but you know, everybody's got different skin tones. Mine are pretty yellow. And again, I want it painterly. I wouldn't mind if you see brush strokes. I'm actually going to try to squint and do a lot of this so I don't get too hung up in detail. And I even myself even like it when I see people introduce greens in the face even. I even like the way that looks. Doesn't hurt to run some of this flesh tone out into the hair. So we're trying to have fun. That's the main thing. I'm just playing around with reds and whites and yellows mostly. This is much darker over there in the I say, if you've never done a portrait, give it a go. Some people, it's you know, they're obsessed with it. It's their love. It's all they like to do. Like I said, I spent that one summer working with that teacher. I just wanted to learn it, like so many things. But I tell people I'm not a portrait painter. And if I would take on a commission, I take a good hard look at it first to make sure it's something I feel confident I can handle. Don't take on stuff you're not comfortable with. Some people, we all want to make some money at this. I mean, it'd be nice, but some people are too much about the money, I think. You know, they take on things that are really out of their skill level. I say what's worse than a bad portrait, I've always joked, is a bad portrait with teeth. They're another whole thing to paint. I've heard people joke about charging by the tooth, and if I do teeth, I typically do not do them pure white. I'll block them in and then actually develop them more by putting in the gums. You don't want to draw every line between the teeth, or they tend to look like rotten teeth. And whites of the eyes, try to be observant to what you see up there. They're sure not pure white, and like you may mix up something that's white and blue, maybe a little burnt sienna in it, and don't just place it on each side of the eye. Be observant to maybe this is much brighter than here, which it probably is. I haven't really looked yet because, ma'am, I'm kind of getting some straight on light really, but I am getting light from this window over here too that's lighting up this cheek more. But just be observant to what you see. Same with catch lights in the eyes. Don't necessarily grab pure white and introduce them into the eyes. I mean, try to look and see what you see there. And if you're watching this, I guess I was brave enough to post it. Well, people went crazy over toilet paper. I don't know why they decided that that was a thing they needed to hoard. I don't know if it's like that where you live, but people lost their mind. If people would have just bought what they needed, they wouldn't have created a shortage of it. My daughter said, go to Amazon and get it. So I went to Amazon, and they were out of everything but the commercial, the great big rolls. So I ordered a case of those great big rolls. I told my husband, though, with the shortage, it will probably be marked that it's toilet paper. It will probably disappear on the way here, won't it? Someone will probably grab it. They said people are breaking into public bathrooms and stealing the toilet paper. That's it's just silly. I saw a lady leaving Target with a whole cart full. I almost wanted to yell at her, you're the reason there's a shortage. One lady said to me something like, unless you've hoarded food and you got something to eat, right, you're not going to need toilet tissue. Some truth in that, right? Don't you love growing older? Oh, all the stupid lines. And still here though. That's what I say. I'm still here though. See, did you notice my tattoo? One of those temporary tattoos. I have a dear friend that yesterday had a double mastectomy done, so I've got that on in honor of her, if you happen to notice that. It's the third time the stupid cancer came back, and they finally made the decision to get rid of them, so I feel for her. Like I said, that's catching the most light from this window. I could have closed that shade on that window, but then it would have been too dark in here. I'm trying to have fun, like I said, with a variety of colors. Like I said, we may even introduce some green in there. And my hair mostly covers up this eyelid, but we'll... Ooh, she's stern looking, isn't she? Because she looks like she's looking over there all pissed off, don't she? And I can see a little bit of my ears, and ears tend to be warmer. I'm not going to do them the same though, because this ear is in the light and it's catching much more light. Something to consider. I got big hooped earrings on. Those would be fun to add. We're going to warm that up a little bit. Do I want every wrinkle or not? I don't know if you're familiar with John Singer Sargent. I think as an artist we all are. And he used to flatter people, in my opinion. If you look at photos, and there are some photos of some of the people he painted, he tended to flatter them, and I'm sure they didn't mind. Darker underneath where the shadow is. Okay, let me see. Actually, the neck's a little wider. More out into there. I'm going to mix up a little blue and white. And come up with something for the whites of the eye. And try to stay with this big brush. You know, I have to decide how picky I want to get with the eyes too. You know, I could really define those. Kind of choking in on the brush. My hair goes down into there, so. And say you're painting blue eyes, you can actually just suggest an area there that looks bluer, because you want that pupil really dark. I mean, if you want to get real picky, you can really zoom in and study the eyes, and typically they're black in the center, and you can outline the pupil. I mean, there's a lot of things you can, just depends on how much of a story, how well you want to explain them, you know what I mean? I'm trying not to explain things too well here. Again, unless you smile like a fool the whole time you do it, you're going to look pretty. I joke, I've got two faces. I look happy or I look mad. That's what I said to my husband. He's always saying, smile. Of course, you can't look like a fool and smile all the time about nothing. But I do find it to be true. I'm either look mad or happy. Let's throw the catch lights in there just to show you what that does. Really brings it to life. Like a little light down in here sometimes was really helpful too. Again, we're not going for a real precise portrait. Lips are too full. I wish mine were fuller. Face actually is a little thin. I mean, you can have fun with it, and which I do. I have a highlight on the nose. Let's just block in some hair. And I'm just grabbing a variety of colors. I'm going to take a little yellow and a little white and kick it up where it's catching light over in here. Let's block in, let's just keep moving forward. Let's block in the jacket. And then I have a kind of purple top on. I'm usually cold, so I usually have layers on. This is strictly for practice, so I'm not necessarily trying to make a real completed portrait. Now I'm looking at the face to think, does it look like me? Doesn't it? Why doesn't it look like me? We've been at this only 37 minutes. And I could block the background in, but do I care? I mean, again, this is just for practice. With the white background, those highlights really aren't going to stand out like they would if we had a dark background. All right. The eyes. Feel a little large to me, maybe. I think the lips are a little low. Try and look at the space from my nose to my lip. Let's look at our nose first. If it was a commission, I would have it on my iPad and I would be zooming way in on the eyes like I do for a pet portrait, because the eyes are so important. Kind of trying to suggest some eyelashes underneath. I mentioned to you that I even like green sometimes in faces. I'm gonna mix up a little green. Let's just see if we like that idea or not. Introduce a little blue into the eye, see what we think of that. Playing around some little touches to try to get the likeness a little closer. Gonna finish this up and make some taco soup. It's always a good day for taco soup. We like spicy things around here. Normally the bottom lip is lighter, something to look for. This is a bit light because it kind of distracts from my hair. You know, and you can have fun and pink up the cheeks a little more if you want. Depends on what you're going for. Like I said, I'm not going for a real refined portrait. Trying to get this a little darker. That's the dark side. Got some rosy cheeks now, don't we? husband's going fishing today. He's so ready for spring. The only thing with not doing the background is like here where I went out into there. I could clean that up if I painted the background. Catching a little light there. Here's the mailman. A lot of time, even on the darker side of the face, this area here under the eye will be a little more lit. You probably noticed that. All right, I'm about to give it up, I think. Again, I could paint the whole background in, I could finish off the jacket, but that wasn't what it was about. All right. You know, I kind of want to finish it all. Part of me doesn't care. All right, let me look here and see if there's any other highlights I'm missing. It's a little brighter there. Definitely got a highlight on my cheek. Highlight this whole side, of course, from the window is lighter. And my neck. Inside of my nose. You know, didn't paint in every line. Don't have to. Got the typical, I kind of suggested the one side there. Just kind of looking to see what feels wrong. right, it's been 52 minutes. Get you in on it so you can see. I wanted it to be painterly. I think it is. Again, you know, if I painted the background, I could clean up the shape of my hair. And I didn't really finish the jacket either. More about being painterly and using different colors. And it's a face. I don't know that it's exactly mine, but let me zoom me down again. Zoom me down. Is that a term? I'm over here. So, you know, it was fun. Again, you look so stern, but you can't sit there and smile the whole time. So it's a good challenge. I challenge you to paint yourself. Give it a go. All right. Thanks so much. I'm off to make soup. Bye-bye.